Well, so how does dinner sound, guys? Another Texas sunset, and just a few minutes ago I was given this by a friend. Chocolate and bacon flavored bits and potato chips. I have no idea what that's going to taste like, but I was told it was really good. So we shall see.
All right, guys, today I've got nothing meteorological to show you in the sky, except for this. We do have something astronomical. If you have a chance, go out and look to the west-southwest, a little bit to the left of the setting sun, and there's Venus just above the horizon there. And it's funny to think under that white dot. It's like a hellscape. Temperatures like 500, 600 degrees, and there was that one Soviet probe that was able to land there. Actually, there was a couple landers that made it there in the 70s and 80s, and they didn't last more than, I think the longest was about 2 hours before they were disabled by the heat and the pressure. Well, here's the situation we have across Texas right now. Starting to develop that deep southeasterly flow again. But let's look at a slightly different picture here. I'm going to take you over to digital atmosphere because we have some terrain interactions going on out west. So let me get you kind of familiar with the setup that we have today. Okay, here you can see that deep southeasterly flow from the Gulf of Mexico. And you see what's up there to the north. Got a little bit of a boundary coming down from Nebraska. That's a new front working southward. New polar front. Let me see if I can draw that out real quick. Looks like we're going to be going something like this with that front. And if I go ahead and sketch in the pips there, it would look something like that. So you can definitely see how in Colorado the front bakes up against the Rocky Mountains right here. And that kind of checks its southwestward progress. But through the high plains, no problems at all moving southward. So that will be rolling into part of Texas tonight and tomorrow. Let's go further to the northwest. Because we've got kind of an unusual thing going on up here. Yeah, you see what's happening here in Montana? We've got much cooler air, lots of 40s and 50s. However, you can see here, it looks like it's blowing across the mountains like this. So we've got some very deep polar air mass working southwestward across through the gaps and passes. And normally these polar air masses, they tend to just kind of filter down the side of the front range, the higher terrain, and they mostly move to the southeast and east. But this one is dumping cooler air into the Great Basin area. So let me see if I can outline that front there. with these fronts, we always want to go to the leading edge. So what do we have here? We need to put ourselves down on the surface. Like right here, I think that's probably Winnemucca. I'm not 100% sure, maybe Lovelock. Got 71 degrees there with a north-northwest wind. So that seems to me like a frontal passage. So we go further south. We get to Tonopah here. We've got a southwest wind gusting to 28. Almost 80 degrees, so I think that front is up to the north like that. So we can kind of use that technique to kind of sketch out where the front is, and we come up with something like this. Looks like it just passed Salt Lake City. Then it rejoins with the segment in the Great Plains. Then going westward, what do we have here? We've got 88 there at Red Bluff. Very warm there. Looks like we're having trouble trying to get through this pass right here. Actually, I need to go westward. Let me move things for you. Yeah, this pass here near Eureka and Weed, it's generally you only get your stronger polar air masses working through that pass. So it looks like it's doing a pretty good job blocking that air mass. So we're probably looking at a frontal configuration kind of like that. So it's not always common for us to have a very obvious configuration for these fronts like you see here. They tend to be more subtle, but this was a very prominent example, and I just had to show that to you. So a big polar air mass coming into the U.S., setting up in Canada. Looks like they're already getting some of the southerly flow on the backside of that high. Then let's move out west. What do we got there? Well, we've got the main low pressure system in the Great Lakes. Let me get this centered here. There we go, over Lake Superior. Maybe adjust that a little bit further north towards Thunder Bay. So our main cold front is extending like that. Where's our warm front? Well, we've got to look through the warm air mass. We've got 74 here, 67, 69, 68, 70. That may be pretty far to the north. We may be looking at something like this. And then further out west. Should be pretty quiet out there. It looks like that's as far as the map goes, but this all looks like high pressure. Very cool, mild weather there. See some comments in chat there about the bacon. I'll let you guys know how it tastes. Right now I've got it in the cabinet. I'll probably wait a couple days on that. But anyway, there's the configuration, the surface configuration. So let's go back to the Weather Service maps. Warnings. Well, we've got the usual winter weather warnings up north. And heat advisories, or I'm sorry, red flag warnings for the Great Basin and coastal range. And I can show you one little thing about why that cold air is breaking through the passes in Montana into Idaho. If we pull up the Great Falls Sounding in Montana, we've got a very deep polar air mass. It looks like it extends all the way up to about 20,000 feet or so. Is that right? Well, I may be a little bit wrong. It looks like we have some northwesterly flow up above 12,000 feet. I can't really find the top on this. It could be here, or it could be here. I'm not sure. We would have to look at more data. But the important thing is that the passes are at about this level right here. So it looks like we have no problem clearing that. You can see that cool air mass extends quite a ways up above that. As we get into winter, I'm going to do some more of those soundings, and we will get more familiar with that. We just need some more of these situations to look at, really. Well, I thought I'd show you one other chart here. Anybody recognize this storm? I pulled that up because it is 8 years old to this date. This is Hurricane Ike coming on shore there near Galveston. So Ike is moving on shore. With hurricanes making landfall, we know that on the right quad, the forward motion of the storm combines with the forward wind speed. So these two are combining the forward movement of the storm as a whole and the south to north flow. So we tend to get very strong winds in that sector, and then on the left side they tend to be a little bit weaker. And since we're pulling in drier air from the interior, we get a little bit less in the way of convection. A lot of our drying comes from the left side of the storm. And the eye wall, you can kind of see that right through here. And indeed, it was this beach here. I forgot the name of that, but it's just to the northeast of Galveston. That place got pretty wiped out. I'm sitting here trying to see if I can remember the name of those towns. That town. Let me just pull it up in Google here real quick and show you some of that. Hurricane Ike. Well, it looks like we're just getting a lot of generic hits. Yeah, I think this is the one right here. Get back here. Yeah, see, that's on that little sandbar island. What's going on here? Okay, so Gilchrist, Texas. I'm not sure where that is. But that kind of looks like that sandbar island just northeast of Galveston. So it really did a number on that area. Haven't had any action in the western Gulf for quite a while now. So anyway, let's get back to our forecast here. I lost a couple of my panels. Let me get this back here. All right, let's do our forecast real quick. This is the situation we have right now. So you can see that we got that high pressure there just north of Montana, driving that cold air mass into the Great Basin and the Central Rockies. High pressure out over the western U.S. And those are our two predominant weather systems right now. And it looks like the deeper moisture out in the tropical Gulf of Mexico is around Cuba, Florida, and the eastern Gulf, so kind of in this area. But that will be entering the picture for Texas later this week. So you can see it starting to make some progress, that higher perceptible water coming on shore. This is around Thursday, and so that's going to bring the rain chances up here in Texas pretty significantly by the weekend. And there you can see the very weak easterly component to the winds in Texas. So I'm afraid it's looking like a very dreary weekend here in Texas. Of course, we do need some of the rain. Then not much change for next week. It looks like some of that moisture works northward into the northern plains. And then our next big front comes down towards the end of next week. And there you see it right there. The patterns are starting to look very dynamic here. See that big lee side trough? And there's this very large fetch of winds out in the Pacific here. I'm sorry, I'm kind of losing my voice this evening. I'm not sure why. So there we go. Next big outbreak. This is going to be around Wednesday the 28th. Again, this is just, this is 360 hours out, so a lot could change. But the models have been hinting at some sort of very strong polar outbreak during the last week of September here. So we'll watch that. And look at that, very strong hurricane off the Baja California coast. And that's about all I have for today. I'm sorry my voice is not up to speed right now, but I should be back in the saddle tomorrow, I think. Anyway, I appreciate you watching, and hopefully we start getting some weather here, and I will see you. Let me check chat real quick, make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay. I think we're good here. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Bye-bye.